Do you ever have one of those weeks where you just get so much done? Well, that happened to me this week. Find out what I got up to in today's episode. G'day, my name is Sean. This is my weekly update where I share my quilting adventures. Let's go ahead and get started with our works in progress. First up is some progress on John, which is part of the second Start to the Right Sew Along by East Quilting Co. And last week you got to see his face, and now we've got the top hat attached. I think this was looking really good, and I'm excited to see the rest of this block come together. I love the colors and the contrast. And this print here with the black and all the little type keys, I think it's just absolutely precious. So we'll see how things go along with that. Next up is some more progress on the Scrappy Stars, which is this pattern right here. It comes in different sizes, so if 3 inches is a little bit too small for you, you can buy it in 4 or 6 inches as well. I got 2 stars done this week. This is the first one right here. And then this is number 2, and this is probably my favorite right here. This one reminds me a lot of a sunflower. Let me know what you think in the comments there as well. Next up is a little bit of testing on the quilting on this beautiful Scrappy Triangles quilt. I've done a little bit of quilting on the black background already, but I wanted to see how it would look on the colored side, and so I had one spare piece, so I went ahead and did it right here. And then I also did the mirror image in a different color just to kind of show you a little bit easier what's going to happen on the other side. So I've got a mirror image here. I still think I'm going to use black rather than the white, so it wouldn't be as distracting in the final product. And then I've also started a brand new project, which is another quilt for a quilt for a new exchange student who'll be joining us in the end of August. She likes mint and navy, and it took me a while to figure out a pattern that I liked with those two colors as the focal point. And so I decided on a buffalo plaid, and so far I've done 3 rows. And I think it's turned out really nice. I'll end up having 11 rows altogether, and I'll show you more progress on that. And I hope to do a tutorial video of that in the near future as well, so that way if you want to make your own as a simple 3-color quilt, you can definitely do so. So that's where for my works in progress. I have a bunch of finished blocks to show you later on the episode, and a lot more fun and exciting news. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do our week in review. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for returning. This is a series of videos I take during the week, mostly of me sewing, but if we do any adventures, which we didn't do this week, that's also featured as well. So I hope you enjoy. Last week I asked everybody what was your tips for removing foundation paper piecing paper once you're all done putting it together, and I loved reading all the responses, and there's a bunch of tips and tricks, and I'm definitely going to try out in the near future once I finish some of these projects and actually get the pull paper out again in the very near future. So thank you so much for answering that question for me. This week I thought it'd be fun to ask you, what color thread do you normally go to for piecing? Is it project dependent, or do you have a go-to as well? For me, it's usually white or black. But there are other, if I get a kit with a thread, I use that and that sort of thing there as well. So let me know in the comments, do you have a particular go-to color, or do you just use whatever's available? Let me know. So what are my goals for this week? Well, I just like to keep up the momentum that I've had. This week I've been very, very productive. I've worked on 8 different projects. I don't expect that to happen all the time, but if I can stay, where I can do a lot of different things during the week and make progress on a lot, that'd be fantastic. So that's my goal for this week. Now it's time for news and events, and I had a few things going on this week. Last Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, I was over at my friend Tammy from the Siberian Wind, where we worked on this, well, I worked on the Scrappy Stars for a couple of hours, and that was a lot of fun hanging out with Tammy and seeing what she's been up to over the last month. If you missed that, duck over and tell her I said hi. Yesterday morning I had my friend Russ from Quilt Meets World. It's always good to have my friend Russ join me. We had a good time. I sewed a little bit on the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, which you'll get to see a little later on the episode, and he also got some progress done on his as well. This coming week I will be live several times. On Saturday morning at 8 a.m, my normal time, I'll have a brand new guest. It's none other than Leanne from Mennonite Farmhouse. I'm really excited to have her join me for a few hours. And then that afternoon, I'll duck over to Donnell Stitchery, to join a couple of the other gentlemen to sew along with her. And then Sunday morning, I'll be live with my friend Katy over at her channel to start a brand new project, which we'll share with you a little closer to the time there as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. So lots of lives. Come join us out, hang out in the chat, or watch the replay. So I did make some recent purchases recently. I wanted to show you. This is for the quilt that I made for our upcoming exchange student, which I showed you a little earlier in the episode. And so I bought 4 different fabrics altogether. So this is the mint, and it has a little checkerboard or a gingham type thing there. And I think this one looks really good. And then I found the turquoise, because it's kind of like a middle ground between the mint and the navy. And this is the navy here as well. All in a very similar collection. These two I think are the same collection, and then this one's a little bit smaller, but it's working out really nicely together. And then for the backing, since she's here for a year in America, I think it'd be fun to have a patriotic fabric on the back, and so that's it there. And now I'm excited to be able to share with you some completed blocks and projects. And so the first one is Blowing Up Bunnies. This is the one you saw me work on a little bit last week, and now it is completely done. And this is one of the bigger bubbles. It's right before the one where it explodes. So this is a lot of fun. So let me show you in a little more detail real quick how it turned out. I think we've got 3 more of those to do, and then that project, quilt top, will be done. Next up is the Puzzle Mystery Quilt by Cotton Cuts, the latest clue drop, which was clue 6 out of 10. And we made 3 different blocks. This is the first one right here. I'm really liking this dark blue here as well. And then this one's here. And I'm thinking in the final design these two go together. This is about the time where I try and figure out how it goes together. And I think this is going to go together. But I could be very much wrong on that. Let me know what you think. And then we've got this one here. I think this will be a lot of these stars in the final project as well. If you're making the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, have you got any guesses on how it goes together? Let me know in the comments. Next up is the Halloweenies project, and we finished the Witchween. And so we've done this here. I think you saw this last week. And then this is the bottom part of the dog, because he's kind of hanging onto the broom. But we don't put this all together until the very end, apparently. So you kind of get to see it together here, and then we'll go from there. And then finally, we have a non-quilting product that I made this week. And it's a little project knitting bag for my wife. She asked me to make it for her. So this is what it looks like right here. And this is the design. And then this beautiful thing here is actually made by my friend Pasita over at Maggie's Crafts. I'll try and link her shop in the description as well. And so I put that on the top. And then this snaps like so. And then you open up these 2 snaps here to see what's inside. And I think Amanda's knitting a pair of socks. And so she saw this the other day and asked me if I can make it for her. I said, okay, sure, why not? I'll give it a shot. I didn't know if I could actually do it, but I was able to, and now I'm making a mess of things, but here we go. And so that's it there. So occasionally I don't make bags very often, but this time I did, and I was really proud of the result. Well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button. Tell a friend, check out this video next, and I hope you'll have a great day. Happy sewing, and we'll see you on the next one.